So yeah, just give us feedback, folks, if you like it. So looks like we're getting on 9 o'clock here. So introductions here. So we got Briana and myself. I'm Rex Schrader, and I have for the past 2 months or so been working on the new JavaScript curriculum. So we started out with about 45 waypoints, and what I have done is gone and added 60 new waypoints, and then I have also rewritten, or at least touched uh, pretty much every other waypoint. And then I also want to give a big shout out to Abhishek. Uh, he has spent, God, like the last 3 or 4 days going through and doing a big proofing pass on these and coming up with just innumerable, incredibly valuable suggestions. Uh, so he's been instrumental in getting these out and making it so all my spelling errors hopefully don't make it to the end users. um, so now that said, all mistakes are clearly mine and not his. We do have a bounty today. If you catch a typo, if you're the first one to catch a typo, then I'm going to give you a thanks on and get you a brownie point out there.
Yeah. We're gonna
Uh,
flood that point.
so yeah, we're going to flood them with brownie points. Yeah. Oh, so we should give them the URL for the Camperbot playground. So
Yes, let's do that. Hey Chris, can you get the dog? He's trying to play with me.
let me get that URL. Where is the Camperbot playground? Okay.
This was a gift. In case you guys can't see my mug, it's a gift. It's not tea, but was a gift. Okay, so we will. Is this the first waypoint?
Okay, so yeah, so just a little. Let me just talk at sort of a high level about what I did and what I'm hoping to accomplish with these. So what I have done is tried to break the waypoints into sort of functional blocks where we talk about sort of a single topic or a general topic, and they're roughly broken out by data types, at least initially. So we talk about, well, we only talk about Booleans once, but we talk about doing things with variables. And then we talk about doing things with numbers, so multiplication, division. We talk about operators that are used on all of those things. You see everything here with the new tag. So I've reordered things a little bit. In some cases, I've taken existing waypoints and I've broken them in half or spread them out over different sections. And then each section has a bonfire. Now, it's not a traditional bonfire in the sense that you truly have a blank page and you're essentially starting from scratch. So they're a lot easier than the basic bonfires, and the content should directly focus on the section that's immediately previous to it. So we do all of this stuff with assignment and adding and dividing and subtracting numbers, and then we do this bonfire convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, where we have you taking the like actually running the Fahrenheit to Celsius conversion. And so all you have to do is put in the formula.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so
Wanna
hopefully
do?
it's going to be a little bit more challenging than the waypoints because we don't explicitly tell you what to do.
Right.
Um, and explicitly cover the material to sort of cement it, but not so difficult that uh,
You
that
quit.
you're that you quit or run away. And the idea here is that we've sort of built up some of the problem solving skills or applying these tools so when you get to the real bonfires they'll be a little bit more straightforward.
Yeah, you have that structure of how you begin to approach that type of problem. That's awesome.
Okay. So let me just dive right in.
Before we get
Uh,
started,
oh,
do you know if or when these will be on the beta site?
so I'm going to be asking Berkeley to put these up later this afternoon. I don't know if they're actually going to go up later this afternoon or not, but they should show up on the beta type in the next day or two, and I'll try and announce that appropriately. Because what I would definitely like for people to do once we have them on the beta site is to get out there and go to and just run through them, right? Tell me, do they increase your understanding? Is there anything that's confusing? Are there any instructions that are unclear? And you can file issues against these just with a tag of beta, uh, like waypoint this and that, beta, um, this is the problem, and I will get the fixes in prior to them going live.
That's
Um,
awesome.
so a reminder though, before we get started, that there is no requirement if you've already passed the waypoints. There's no requirement that you go back and do these. So don't worry that you're going to have to go back and do 60 of them. However, if you don't feel like you're confident in your JavaScript, it may very well be worth your while to go back and do them, just because I think that the content is presented a lot more clearly.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know there's a lot of campers, myself included, where I see this stuff and I'm like, oh, I actually can do that. And it looks like fun because it's almost a confidence builder while it's still, cementing knowledge I already have. I think there's going to be a lot of people that do them that don't have to anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll dive right in. So I haven't made any significant changes to understanding Boolean values, although what we do now is in all of the waypoints, and this is primarily thanks to Abhishek, is we talk about data types, and we talk about undefined, we talk about Boolean, string, symbol, number, object. So we talk about those in a little bit greater depth, and now all of the new waypoints should have an instructions block down at the bottom. So it is really explicit about what it is that you need to do. Uh, Previously, the waypoints were just they'd sort of ease into what you were sort of doing. In some cases, it was a little ambiguous about what
Yeah.
you needed to do. So we tried to be a lot more explicit there. So I'm actually going to go ahead and solve this one. Oh, is it already solved? It is already
Nope.
solved.
No, it's
Okay.
supposed to return true.
Oh, it's supposed to return. Yeah.
Carol
Yeah.
and Hannah are
I
the
can
same.
I can read instructions.
It's a good thing there's that little block for you, Rex. So when it fails, when you put
Okay.
to do.
So, now what we talk more explicitly about declaring variables. So
Nice.
the other thing that we'll have, we got the instruction block, and then we've got a little hint block, right? So I've already set this up. I guess I can reset the code. I didn't think to do that. I should like go and clear my cache for all of these, right? So I just add in a variable var um, my name equals Rex Schrader, and that's what it looks like. Actually, let me take a moment to clear the local settings so it doesn't like I cleared my completion status, but I didn't clear
Oh,
uh
the actual.
the local. Does anybody remember? I guess I can go. Let me look it up on another monitor here.
What
Um,
do you?
oh well, I need to remember how to clear my local. I think it's just in the browser settings. Oop, wrong
I
browser.
mean, Chrome. I usually do it just like go to
Oh dear.
your thing. You can delete it while you delete history type stuff. But I think
I
there's also a
think.
dev tools where you can
Did your
stop.
face stop displaying on the screen?
I don't know. Let me check. Nope, I see my face still.
Okay. Whew.
Here.
I'm clicking buttons. I know this is absolutely scintillating streaming as I. Okay, if I remember correctly, we can go into resources, local storage for
Yes.
this, and I think I can just clear it.
Do it.
Uh,
Oh, I got myself into such trouble with my local storage yesterday. I thought I deleted all of the information, like my DNS services for my website. That's my portfolio.
oh, great. Is it not going to let me delete them? Oh, here we go. Delete, 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 delete.
Eating them up. There we go. So, anybody else watching the stream, more education. Now you know how to clear your local cache or cache, as I prefer to call it, while you're doing things like this. It's also useful if you're working on a website and you want to see a change and it's not showing up. It might be showing a version of a website that you were loaded earlier.
Okay, so moving along here.
And Honey Badger cares. No, he doesn't. Honey Badger don't care.
I now I know what happened is that I closed my Twitch connection. Okay. Yeehaw. I'm what we call an expert. Okay. Uh, so I have a lot more emphasis in these waypoints. I believe this is a new one. um, on actually storing variables, because a lot of times what I would see is people would go into a bonfire, and the way that they were trying to store a value was by returning it, and that
Oh,
because so many of our examples used a return rather
yeah.
than an equals. Now we still have that a lot later on, but we've got front loaded a whole bunch of stuff about using equals, and especially for these early ones, uh, I have you doing multiple assignments. So we want to say a equals 7, and we want to say that a is equal to b. Oh, that's not supposed to have a leading space. I'll have to fix that. Uh, so that way you can see two different types of assignment, and both of them have to be completed. And so now if we run the tests, that, oh goodness, it's not passing. Why isn't it passing?
Assign the value of 7 to variable A. Assign the contents of A to variable B. So should it be B
Oh,
equals A?
yeah.
It's those dang instructions. Good thing they're there.
I'm right. I wrote it. I can't solve it. That's I wonder if I should
Oh,
reverse
boy.
that.
Want you to do it again.
Let's do it again. Okay. Uh, so there we go.
Fabulous. I love it. I can't wait to do these.
Okay. So I guess we'll just
Let's do them.
yeah, let's do them. I'm just going to run through these, and Brittany, you'll watch the chat. And so if there are any questions or comments about that, and again, if anybody finds, oh, so another new feature, a new feature that doesn't exist yet, but you'll see that some of these items are italicized here, and the
Wait.
reason, what will happen is that we're going to have pop-up definitions for these. So you'll be able to either mouse over it or click on it. I don't think we've decided yet, and it will pop up like a plain English definition. It might even have a link to a wiki, because sometimes we introduce new terminology that not everybody's going to know, and so we've got a lot of them that are like that. So whenever we use like a computer sciencey type term, it'll show up there.
Awesome.
Okay, so we are going to create a new A, and we're going to give it an initial value of 9. And
There equals 9.
okay, and that's all we're testing here is, does A equal 9?
First one.
Which it does. Woot. I am I am trucking now.
Now we're on the road to
Mhm.
success.
Okay, so the other thing that you can do is you can initialize a variable. Oh, we need to understand uninitialized variables. So if we actually just run these, you'll see that A is equal to NaN, right?
No.
It's not
Uh-huh.
a number because we haven't given an initial value, and right here we're doing math with it. And so that's what this waypoint is talking about, that if you do a mathematical operation on an undefined variable, basically one that's been freshly assigned, you're going to get a not a number, right? And if you concatenate a string, which you can do with the plus operator, and we talk about that in more greater detail, you actually get the string literal undefined. So we need to go and define these to have initial values so we can actually do math on them straight away. So A equals 5, B equals 10, and C equals, let's see, IMA.
So I'm going to interrupt you just
Hmm.
for a second, Rex. There's a couple things in the chat. First of all, hi, Wes. I'm glad you found a computer. Carol Ann Hannon brings up an awesome point about the last one we just did. She says, isn't it confusing to say equal operator in this waypoint when it was just called assignment operator in the previous one,
Oh,
since equal is double, equal, or triple? Okay, I'm going to go shower her with brownie points real quick.
yeah, yeah, that is actually a great thing. And let me, okay, so what you can see on the right-hand side of my screen is the, oh, but you can't see it, so you're going to be sending this up. Um, this is COM 1000, the Challenge-O-Matic. And what this allows me to do is it allows me to edit this stuff kind of live. Okay, so this is understanding initialized values, understanding initialized values. So this sort of mass of code is what is actually described. So let's see here. Our variables with initial value undefined. Okay, where am I saying equal value? Or was that on the previous?
It was the one before this.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe you were right. It was a child, not a college student.
Okay. So maybe, well, maybe
Initialize.
what would be better to do. So I think that colloquially, it's the
Uh-huh.
equal operator, in the sense that it's the equal sign. Whereas, so maybe what it would be better to do is to say the assignment or equal operator. So we could say you store a variable with the assignment. So we'll say assignment or.
So, chat, what do you think? Does that seem like a good, clear way of doing that? Oh, I think that looks clear.
Okay, so
Oh, the cat's not
let me
yelling at it yet.
yeah. So let me save that off, and so this is storing values with the equal operator. Okay,
Hang on. Oh, hang on.
let's see here. Let me go back to the map. Okay. Oh, did I not close my? Why is operator showing? Oh, because I didn't close my DFN. Okay. So save that and refresh. Okay, so in JavaScript you can store in a value with the assignment or equal operator. Does that seem
I
clear?
like.
Okay. Yeah, and then Carol, we go into greater detail about the double and triple equals. They are comparison operators, and we're getting there. They're going there. Okay. Uh, so let's. Oh, you just cleared the chat?
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to change a setting, and that was not the way, apparently. Sorry, everybody.
Okay.
I'm an expert in what you
Okay.
call an
Well,
expert.
I'm going to move on, and then we'll get additional feedback to see if people think that that was clearer. Okay.
Yeah.
So, understanding uninitialized variables. Okay, and so we just completed this one, and so let me run the test there, and it looks like everything passed. Okay, so now we talk about case sensitivity, uh, because I don't know that it's explicitly stated, or it may have been stated as a side note. And so what we have people doing here is just fixing the case of these variables. And I'm going to do it the quick and dirty way, which is to just copy and paste them in here, because I don't want to actually type them. Uh,
That's called efficiency.
yeah.
Hang on, I have to look for spelling. I'm looking for spelling errors, which is not, I'm not great at spelling either. It looks great to me.
Okay. Yeah. We can't actually fit this whole thing on the screen. Oh yeah, we can. Okay.
Really good, a good change.
Okay. So basically just emphasizing that my var is not the same as my var nor my var. So we have three different things. They have to have exactly the same case in order to use it. And then we also have, and this we don't have very many of these, but we have best practices where we talk about this is what you should do. You should use camel case, which is you have the first word is all lowercase and then a capital letter for the next letter for the beginning of the next word and so on. Right. So this
Oh,
variable name is string.
another Carol Ann Hannon. Assignments is spelled wrong in instructions. Oh my gosh, she's right. Everybody go to the chat.
Oh man, I thought that Abhishek caught all of those. Yeah.
So
So,
everybody
oh,
go to the
did people
site.
actually go to the chat and do?
They did last time. Say thank you to Carol Ann Hannon. Give her some brownie points for her amazing attention to detail.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, let me go and fix that right now. And I think I misspelled it very consistently in that way. Okay, which one was this?
Probably
This is
Briana.
understanding case sensitivity in variables, and it's assign
ASSIGNMAN.
MENTS. Is that right? Okay. Save that and refresh and give brownies to Carol. Is she getting the brownie love that she so richly deserves?
I mean, I gave her one and then I tried to give her another one and it wouldn't let me, and nobody else has. So that link I just sent you guys to the Camperbot Playground, go to there and do some thank you points. See, St. Peter just did. We're gonna get her some brownie credit.
Yeah,
And if you would like brownie credit, find some things that need fixed because we will make sure that you get the brownie credit.
yeah. And she really needs more because that other thing I think was a good observation. Okay.
Was
So these should now be we should be good to go here. And let me test it. And
oh,
yay.
9,000.
Okay, now this is the same old waypoint that it ever was. We do have the code broken out in an example, like we have an example here of what it does. I don't know if this example is the best way to do it because it's not actually showing a, like it's showing sort of standard infix notation, but it's not necessarily showing the way that you would do it for real. And I don't know if people are gonna be confused. I mean, they'll see this is what it looks like, or maybe putting the equals operator on the left-hand side here.
Yeah, I think something with like
Yeah, let
the
me,
assignment operator, I guess, because it is a little bit confusing that you would use an
yeah.
assignment operator instead of like the equality assignment thing, but you haven't really gotten into that yet later.
So,
George 1991 enough.
so I think if we do it like 15 equals 5 plus 10, right, and then we can just show like an example of um, my var equals 5 plus 10, right? So
Yeah, I
this
like that
is
better.
maybe that's actually just the better example is to say my var equals 5 plus 10, right? And then we do this thing where we say uh, equals 15. We're essentially illustrating it in the comment. Okay, so let me save that and refresh the screen. So I think that's probably a little bit clearer there. Is that's are we getting any good feedback for that on the?
Well, I give him a second to see it. What do you guys think? Is that example a good example, or would that, make that more or less confusing? They're not saying anything. Why not say is set rather than equals?
Oh, set to or assigned to 15? Um, hmm.
Yeah, I think that would be, yeah,
We could say like assigned 15.
yeah.
Okay. Um,
Um,
well, it needs to fit, but
name query these. They're not new bonfires. They're new JavaScript challenges that will be added, JavaScript waypoints, and a couple small kind of mini bonfires. But yes.
so we could say assigned 15. So let me save that.
So that, yeah, they like the example just saying, yeah, saying assigned. I like everything, but we're saying it seems really clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. I think if that's going to be confusing to people at this level, then
Yeah, that
we have
they may
something
not be
that
well suited to
that's
computer
a
science. It's
thing that needs to help them.
yeah. Okay. So we'll go and run that. And I think that all of them have that same structure. So I'll just go through real quick and make that change. Uh, okay. So what we want to say is my var equals 12 minus 6, right? Assigned 6.
To the 50 people watching right now, hello and welcome. Just a quick review that Rex and I went over earlier. This is me, Briana. I'm Briana Marie in the chat room, Briana Marie 132 on Twitter, and this is Rex Schrader, who basically wrote all of the Java. Like, can we say that you wrote the
Well,
JavaScript
I
website?
I I rewrote like 40 something waypoints and then added about 60 more, give or take. I actually lost count of how many I added.
So
Okay.
he's been working his tail off getting all these ready, and they are going to be on the beta site in a couple days. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But right now, we're just kind of going through them. If you'd like some brownie points, try and find some spelling errors or some other semantic errors. But yeah, he's just wanting some feedback because he's been looking at these in such detail for such a long time. And I know all of us are so excited to see them that we're glad that you're tuning in. And feel free to, shout out in the chat room if you see something that you want to talk about. Sorry, Rex, go on.
Oh, it's all good. Okay, so 169 equals, oh, no, not 169, but my var equals, right? And we say assigned 169.
Maurice, leave it.
Okay, so I think we've had plenty of time to get feedback, and nobody's saying, "Oh my God, you fool!" So I'm assuming that this structure is going to work. Okay,
Ooh,
so
PS has a good question. Have you guys dove in depth with map/filter/reduce and the like in any of the new waypoints?
no, not in this update. That is definitely on our roadmap, and I intend to have. I think I'm going to call it something like the JavaScript intermediate or intermediate JavaScript section, and it will go into great detail on things like functions as first-class objects, object-oriented programming,
Right.
callbacks, like functions as callbacks, passing
Yeah.
functions, currying functions. So all of that as a lead up to functional programming. And then for each of those top-level functional programming functions, we will go into much greater depth. So we'll have multiple examples for
Yeah.
filter, reduce,
Oh, I
uh,
can't wait.
yeah, map, and so on. So
Another
I guess I would envision probably 60 plus waypoints total for that section,
that's super
because yeah, and similarly the mini bonfire type thing.
yeah.
But I don't know. I guess the one thing that I'm definitely going to not be doing is I'm not going to do it in one chunk like I did this, because this kind of drove me crazy. Um,
That's a lot. Another Carol Ann Hannon winning. She says, I guess this is one back would be my guess. One
okay.
back. So in quotes, so that difference should be the difference.
Oh, so the difference. Uh, what she say? She says,
So
well, let me parse that here. Man, she is going to have so many brownie points coming out of this. We may not be able to give her brownie points. She's going to have so many.
change the zero, so the difference will equal 12. So she's saying just change that to the
Okay, will equal 12.
yeah, or so that the
Or
difference.
or the difference is.
Hey, thanks,
I
Big Spider-Man. Sorry.
I think
So
change the zero so the difference is
is
12.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think that's clear. Okay, good.
I think that could stay or it could go, but the is imperative.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, everybody, go give Carol Ann Hannon some more.
Some more brownie points. Yeah.
Literally nobody but us has done it. You guys, I'm about to kick you off the stream if you
Yeah.
don't send her.
I can't give her any more brownie points.
I know.
I'm
I
so
can't
sad.
either. Oh, I'll try anyway.
Okay. Carol, I hope you know that you have brownie points from my heart.
I'm
Okay.
trying. Oh, no, won't let me. Anyway, you guys really need to step up your game as far as, be as good as Carol Ann Hannon. If you can be half as good as she is, then you can stay.
Okay. Let's see. Our multiplication is good to go. Okay. Division. Oh, and this is bad verbiage here. Change the zero so that quotient will equal to 2.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something before part of an
So
SAT
that the
question.
quotient, how about is equal to 2? Is equal to 2. Yeah. Okay. Save that off and refresh. Oh, and we need to change
You
the,
forgot the
yeah.
you forgot the
Oh, what?
again. So that the quotient.
Oh, see, this is why we pair program, folks. This is what it's all about. Okay, 16,
There we go.
2, assigned 8. That's what the verbiage we've been using is assigned. Okay, save that off.
Crystal sends Carol Ann Hannon St. Peter points.
Okay, So let's see, 66 by 33 is 2. Yeah, unfortunately, you do have to know basic mathematics in order to solve these. A little bit of basic algebra right there.
If you don't already know, you can learn here. This
Okay, now
is
this is one that I definitely want to get feedback on. So I'm actually going to ask you to solve this. How do I solve this? So the increment operator is where you use plus plus, right? So you do I plus plus.
hmm
By the way, are you hearing a little beep beep? I think I need to turn off my instant
I don't
messenger
hear
here.
a beep beep.
Oh, well, I'm going to exit out anyway, just so,
Cat might.
because I'm hearing it. Okay, so I plus plus is the equivalent of I equals I plus 1. So the question is, what do we do to this line to fulfill the instructions?
Mother plus plus.
Okay, so do I,
Oh,
so
equivalent
just
is
delete
spelled
the whole
wrong.
thing, or
No, well, I would just delete, like, just delete for a while. I'll tell you when to stop.
okay,
Keep going. Stop.
okay,
Plus plus.
right there. Okay,
And then find the word equivalent and spell it right.
where's equivalent?
On the
Oh,
left hand.
right here. Okay, can you please tell me how to spell it properly?
I'll tell you how Carol spells it because I believe her. But I see people are sending her brownie points now, so just like keep them coming, folks. Like keep
Yeah, at this point, it's the Rex, Briana, and Carol Ann Hannon show where she's going to be our new co-host. Okay,
okay.
so uh,
EQUIVALENT. You aren't
ALENT.
that bad, man. People are so good at spelling. What's wrong with you?
I
First time
literally the
it's with
reason
an A.
the reason I started using computers is because I couldn't spell, and my dad's computer had spell check on it. That And you know what? Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. The one thing that the Challenge-O-Matic lacks is inline spell check. Okay.
Oh, so somebody is saying Big Fat Spider-Man says instead of doing my var plus plus, you should do plus plus my var, and it'll look like you've been coding for more than a year, which I have barely.
Well, so I was a little. I mean, there's the prefix and postfix, um,
You
or the
know?
pre-increment or post-increment, and I think that the way it is used most frequently is as a standalone rather than as an assignment. And personally, I think that doing it when you're doing assignment is confusing. And so
Okay.
I made a deliberate choice not to teach it here. It's something that I have to choose between, the clarity of presentation. And right, this is basically what the fifth or sixth waypoint that somebody who's the first time ever using JavaScript is seeing.
Right.
I don't want to confuse the issue with sort of vague. I
Right.
mean, some distinctions are important enough that I explicitly make them, but those I think are few and far between. So,
Yeah. Agree.
mm, but good observation. So glad that you're paying attention. But yeah, deliberate choice not to include that. Okay, what am I doing now? Right, I'm refreshing the screen, and then
Okay, we're
I'm
62 people now, so I'm just gonna shout out one more time. This is Rex Schrader and Briana Marie working on the new waypoints that Rex has written for the JavaScript curriculum that will be live on beta in a few days. So if you see any spelling errors or other things you'd like to discuss, shout them out in the chat. And we're glad you're here.
okay, and I do have, of course, the exact same spelling error in the next one because at
Oh,
least I'm
that's what?
consistent.
Oh, you're
Because
copying.
okay, so copy and paste. So sorry, Carol, don't get any points for that one. Okay, and let's see. So change the code to use the minus minus operator on code myvar. Okay, so that looks good.
Yeah.
Okay, and I will solve this one and run the tests. Okay,
Fantastic.
so here's another one where we've added a little bit of content talking, right? Decimal numbers are sometimes referred to as floating point, and these will be a little pop-up or whatever, or just floats, right?
Yeah.
Oh dear, I didn't have the instructions down here,
There's
so
no
let me.
instructions here. I don't know what to do.
Uh, I'm so lost. Okay,
Just read all the words and go, oh my God, that's a lot of words.
yeah. So I did. let's see. So that is an H4. Instructions. H4 is closing. And we save that and refresh.
In the chat, Carol says, well, somebody actually corrected the equivalent before Carol got to it. So I think we should still probably give him brownie points, but I don't know what his getter name is. Somebody's complimenting your cat, and someone wants clarification
Oh,
between minus minus sign. So if you have that minus minus before or after, like when would you use?
ah, okay. So the difference is I can actually do it right here, I think, and it'll show. So if we take I'm going to use this as so I'm going to say our decimal equals 5. So if I have another variable and I say var, let's see, my var, and I say my var is equal to our decimal minus minus, then my var is actually going to get the value of 5 because the assignment occurs before the decrement. So if I run this, oh, I'm not actually outputting it. So let's see, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to, if this is even going to be visible. It should, yeah, so you probably can't see it. It's probably hidden under my screen, but it actually shows up as 5. Okay, so then if I change it to be minus minus our decimal, that will pre-decrement our decimal before it is assigned to my var. So if I run that again, and again you probably can't see it, it's in the lower right hand corner here, it's now, my var is now equal to 4 rather than 5 because our decimal is decremented prior to the assignment.
That's awesome. Does that answer your question, Wistrauss?
Yeah,
I think
maybe now I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I
this
don't know
could
if,
be a challenge, but maybe later on in the curriculum.
yeah,
Because
okay.
I agree with what you were saying earlier. I think that to somebody, this is their first introduction to JavaScript. That would be, they don't have enough context for that to make sense in any memorable way.
Yeah. Okay, so so I have to create a new var my decimal and assign it just like any decimal number. Uh,
Yes. Hmm. It
okay.
worked.
Yay!
Good job.
Okay. Oh, so I also have a note in here just to mention, right, that not all real numbers can be accurately represented by a floating point. This can be lead to rounding errors. And rather than trying to explain it in line, I've just got a link to this section in Wikipedia, which may or may not be useful. And I'm mostly concerned. So one of Quincy's key things is he wants waypoints to be simple to do, so that you can come in, you can read the text, and you can be done in under 2 minutes. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've tried not to go into too great of detail on these things, just
Right.
because we don't want to break people's flow of having them go, oh, and here's this random side fact. Um, I don't know how well I actually kept to that to later things because some things just are that complicated. But
Right.
that's kind of a key thing that we're thinking about is, solve the problem, move along.
Yeah. I think that's good. And I think, I mean, having that extra details and at least making the note of that. So later on, if they do have some errors in whatever it is they're doing, they'll have some kind of background memory of, I feel like
Yeah,
I've read that happen.
like it might actually make sense for us to have a waypoint that talked about correcting rounding errors or dealing with rounding errors. But it can also be, I mean, it's the sort of thing that we don't want to hand every possible answer to the users, and having them go out and try and find out a solution to it kind of has value as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so let's see. Is it 2.5? This is a one of those simple math I can't do. Oh, this needs the instruction block.
Yes, it
Um,
does. Well, but it already says there. It says change the zero.
right, but it doesn't explicitly say instructions.
That's true.
Okay. We want to be consistent. Okay.
We're talking about the change bonfire, the Roman numerals bonfire, and the calculator zip line and how that had to do with rounding. I feel
Yeah.
like these are a little bit of spaghetti code for me. I got through them pretty quick, but it's not the most efficient code.
Well, that's one where it's definitely relevant, and I'm wondering almost if we shouldn't just give them the code to use, like where you can do the round, like multiply by 100, round it down, and divide by 100,
Right.
or something like that. I don't know. Okay. Uh, so that is that, and yes, I have done my math correctly. Okay, and then this is another one that needs the same change. It needs uh, the the instructions block in it. So let me grab that and just cut and paste it in there. Okay, and save that off.
DBSPS wants everyone else to suffer with him. He's like, shh, if we had to pain through it, so does everyone else. It doesn't mean everybody else has to be miserable.
Okay, so let's see. This should be 4.4 divided by 2.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay. Oh, and I've got kitten doing kitten stuff here. Okay. Now this is one that we've actually spent. I learned something from Abhishek on this. Um, the this is not technically the modulus operator. This is the remainder operator
Oh, that's right.
because it doesn't work for negative numbers, which the modulus operator does work for negative numbers. And this cat is chewing on things next to me. It's all part of the show, folks.
Leave
Okay,
it to
so I think we're going to just call it the modulus operator. I may go back and just completely rewrite this
okay.
to call it the remainder operator because the sort of underlying examples are sort of roughly correct, right?
Uh, yeah.
So we have our example here, and these I think I need to convert. I don't think I'm just gonna let me actually make a note that I need to go back and just rewrite this one because it's too much to do. I think in the live stream.
There
So
is a question for the stream.
mhm.
Amr Sakili, I'm sorry that I said that wrong. What's the environment you use for writing the instructions? Want to talk a little bit about the challenge-o-matic?
Sure. Ben McMahon and Tara Kilobyte collaborated to do the challenge-o-matic. And the challenge-o-matic, so anybody can theoretically install this. You need to have an installed version of freeCodeCamp, which also everybody can do. And then you install challenge-o-matic, and the challenge-o-matic is a React app that breaks out the challenge seed. So actually, let me show you. We are an open source project, which means that all of the code for freeCodeCamp is available on the web. There is a repo for freeCodeCamp,
You should star it.
and so if you are interested in contributing, this is so. Let's see. This is the modulus one. Modulus. Um, so this is the raw code for the challenge that we're looking at. And what this is a JSON object. That's a JavaScript object notation object. And there are all these keys. So this is like the unique ID that uniquely internally identifies this challenge. Here's the title, here's the description. The description is an array of strings that have this encoding, and so on and so forth. So what the challenge-o-matic, so prior to the challenge-o-matic, in order to create a new challenge, you actually had to come in and manually edit this JSON data, which was a real challenge. And so I actually, when I came on board a couple months ago, I said, you know what, we should really write an application to do this. And so Ben and Tara Kilbyte, Nathan, came together to write this challenge-o-matic. And it's not done yet, not by a long shot. We basically got it done enough so that I could actually use it. But like the titles need to be, only one line, and there needs to be drop downs for some things like the waypoint types and challenge types and stuff like that. But it's sort of good enough for me to get going. So hopefully,
Yeah, so you've done a ton of work on it.
yeah. So we do have. If you are interested in contributing, you can check out the contribution. If you just go to the repo, there's a contribution, and then we also have a help contributors chat room, so you can ask questions and so on.
Nathan says, "Don't look a gift horse in the mouth."
Well, Nathan, we only spent 30 minutes on fixing it, so, you know, so inside. Okay, so let me drop this in the Twitch chat if I can find it. So here is a link to the Help Contributors channel. And then, you know what, let me just open up uh, the GitHub. Okay, so if you go to the Contributing MD, there are details here about how to contribute. And just actually on the main page of the repo, if you scroll down, it describes how to install freeCodeCamp and get it running. And then there's the COM 1000 project here that similarly has not very good installation instructions. So anyway, that is what we are using. Okay, moving along. So I'm just going to solve this. Like I said, I'm going to go through and I think give this a little bit more love. So 11 mod 3 should be, I think it's 2. It is, and we're good to go. Okay. Now we have the plus equals operators here. And so this is another one where you can write a equals a plus 12. So we're basically going to go through all of the assignment operators. And luckily, assignment spelled correctly. Thanks, Abhishek, for for correcting my spelling on that one. I know he got.
Hey, there's a lot more words than that. It's not over.
Okay, are
Looks
you
pretty
reading it?
slow. Not this time, Carol. No brownie points for this one. I shouldn't say that. She'll probably find something.
Okay. So what we're doing here is we're just going to say rather than a equals a plus 1, we instead a plus equals 12, or b plus equals b, uh,
Why
or
not?
c. Mm-hmm.
Why
Oh,
not
that's not the right. It's actually plus equals 9.
pair programming?
Yeah, and plus equals 7. So what that should do is add these values to their respective variables. Okay, run those tests. Yay, I got it right.
Congratulations.
Okay. And then we're basically just going to do the same, pretty much the same thing for these. I'm just going to go through these real quick because I don't think there's anything especially exciting about them.
Limit, subtract, rewritten. The words look like they're spelled right so far.
Okay.
Harrison Program says, "Are you like going through all the challenges?" We are like going through most of
We
them.
we are going through all of them, or at least as many as we can before we get bored. I don't know how far along we are actually.
It's been 48 minutes. It is my birthday, and I have plans eventually.
Okay.
So do it forever.
So let.
How does one test for plus equals without inspecting the code? Good question.
Oh, so not having a prior, like not having a prior value. Oh, how does one test for plus equals?
Yeah, I
Oh
think
no,
he's saying
we inspect the code. Um, the tests are actually explicitly looking for the plus equals operator, or in this case, it's looking for 3 of them. In fact, I can show you in COM. Let's see here.
and
Assignment.
then my Indesia, I think, I mean, it's driven by the results for the bonfires because it's about what you return. For these, it's more about teaching concepts. And so it's kind of impossible to test if you've actually used that concept that they're trying to make you use if you don't inspect to see if if it's there or not. I
Right.
think the bonfires, it's okay that you use your own thought process to do it. That's the point.
Yeah. So what we've got here is we've actually got this editor.get value gets the value of the contents of the editor window, and so we're explicitly searching for 3 instances of the minus equals. So that is what the test case looks like. Oh yeah,
Question.
well okay, it is theoretically possible to hard code the answers, but you would also need, like I could cheat, right? I could put 3 minus equals in here and hard code the answer. So what would that be? here, let me show you how to cheat. So if I did minus equals, minus equals, minus equals, and then I said A is equal to, oh, what is it? 11 minus 6 is 5, equal to 5. That should still pass all the tests. Oh, what?
Maybe commented out.
Yeah. See, because
Oh,
so that does technically pass, but I think if you're competent enough to cheat the tests, then we're just going to give it to you.
and then
Right?
you got it. You get
Like,
it.
yeah, you basically understand it well enough that you're not going to break anything. Or,
You might understand it too well.
yeah,
You
you
should
might
start
understand it too well.
test for us, start contributing.
Okay, so I will try and speed up a little bit here. Um, so this is times equals, and this is times equals. And you see that I've got it backwards here, so you can't just blindly go through.
You gotta think it through.
Gotta think it through.
Think, check
Okay,
yourself before you wreck yourself.
okay, so that one's looking good.
Okay.
Okay, and same thing here.
I
Uh,
don't know that I've ever used this divided by equals
I know.
operator in any practical situation of all time ever.
Well, I hardly like. Do you ever divide things? Usually, you're doing something like where you have to round it or something like that. Okay, yay,
I don't know
assignment
what
spelled.
last time divided was.
Okay, so that one is looking good there.
Wow, what are the odds it gave you the same message twice in a row?
Okay, so this is our mini bonfire. So I'll spend a little bit more time on this, right? So we try and explain what a bonfire is here, right? To test your learning, we're going to create a solution from scratch. Place your code between the indicated lines and it will be tested against multiple test cases. So we kind of have to have this code because otherwise things end up looking bad. Now, what we do not have, and this is a deliberate decision, is that we do not have an instructions block because the instructions are the entirety of the description. And I tried to write this out in English so it's more like a word problem.
Right.
So do you want to solve this one?
Yes, I'm going to read it out loud.
Okay.
Test your learning. You will create a solution from scratch. Place your code between the indicated lines and it will be tested against multiple test cases. The algorithm to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit is the temperature in Celsius times 9/5 plus 32. You are given a variable TC representing a temperature in Celsius. Create a variable TF. That'd be the first thing I do. I'd write var TF equal. And then I would read some more. And apply the algorithm to assign it the corresponding temperature in Fahrenheit. I think it might be helpful to make that into multiple sentences, just that last bit.
Okay.
Just for
So
me
so
with
we would say given a
language.
variable to see the representative. Okay. Create a variable TF. Okay, period. And then apply the algorithm to assign it the corresponding temperature in Fahrenheit?
Apply. Wait. I mean, yes, I guess that makes sense, but I
Or
think also a better way to say it. I don't know what it is.
okay.
So I would do here var TF equals
Mm-hmm.
TC times 9/5. And I'd put all that
Mm-hmm.
in some parentheses. I'd probably put the 9/5 in parentheses too because I overdo it because I don't trust PEMDAS.
Okay. Well, since I'm being you, I'm your typer.
Great. And
Okay.
then I would put plus 32.
Okay.
And then I'd put a
Oop,
yep, and it would be 32 instead of
that's
31.
31.
Trying to sabotage me here. And yes, I am an actual school teacher. And some people get confused when they see testing code in the exercises. They wonder if they're missing out. Yeah, I see. Carol Ann is right again. Again, she says that
Right.
some people get confused when you mention testing code in the instructions and the exercises. They wonder if they're missing out on anything because they can't understand it, like the type of code section. Anyway, it can be moved to the hidden assert code instead.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I've thought about this a lot, and we actually do have we have hidden code we have like a head section that goes above and a tail section that goes below. And so
Right.
you will not see any testing code that is not absolutely positively required in here. So you'll notice that we've labeled this change the inputs below to test your code. So what you can do is we want you to come in and try different values. here. Like, so actually, let's do that. Let's make a mistake. Let's say I fat fingered it and I hit 31. So I've got convert 10, right? So I pull out my HP calculator,
Do we ever
and
explain those test cases?
do we? Oh no, we haven't
Like,
talked about them very much, have we?
we have like a challenge that's like, hey, when you do this type of thing, look at this section, and these are what these mean.
Um, I mean, they should be pretty straightforward. I guess I should be showing the test cases for all of these because they also could have they could also have errors. Right. So we show that we're basically calling it with 0, and it should return a number. So we always check to make sure that it's returning the data type that we expect. Um, oh,
Oh,
the
okay.
testing. Oh, that's a
Yep.
good.
Did you
Yeah,
just read this? Okay.
yeah. I just read Carol's comment. Okay, so none of the basic JavaScript waypoints have those types of testing type things now.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I could put an inline like description of what is going on here. Like I could go and say this checks to see if TF has been defined, right? Um, if so,
Yeah.
return it, right? Otherwise, uh, create a safe error or something like that. I don't know. It's sort of one of these we kind of want people
Nice.
interpreted. Oh, he meant okay. So that's it's. I mean, there's a little bit of tension here between we want people to just solve the problem, move along, but we also the problem would be if I didn't have this block of code, then it would generate an error and none of the tests would run prior to
Right.
TF being defined. And since part of the challenge is to create the variable declaration, I kind of
Yeah.
have to have it here.
I think it's fine. I mean, it's a little bite. It's giving them a little bite of what they have to do, but it's also I like that it has the other section there because one of the things when people start bonfires is they don't understand that whole big picture of what they have to make it go through the testing. And this shows them that without actually making them responsible for creating it. I think it's a nice just introduction to
Yeah,
it. It's clear about what they're expected to do, and it'll work, and it'll give them, they can move on.
yeah. So I just typed the formula or what I think the formula should be into my HP calculator. I don't know if you can actually see this. And I see, oh, my actual response is supposed to be 50, not 49. So the idea here is that this is like I can change this and see my output down here or in the little output section.
Yeah.
So and I think maybe less on this one, but more on later examples. I think it's valuable to be able to go through and test this because it's harder to know that you can open up your console window and use the dev tools. Okay, so let's see if we got this right. Or you got this right. And you did! You get
Happy
bonus
birthday to
points.
me.
Okay, I don't know if we would actually want anybody to tweet that, but there you go.
Whose dog is using Twitter?
Hey, on the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. Okay, so now we move on to string variables, and this is an original one, so I'm going to move through this pretty quickly. So my first, oh, we need to define it. So my var my first name equals. Oh, if I was a ninja, it would be my.
It's incredible that you've gotten this far in making all of these waves correctly spelled. You have that really kind
I also can't type.
of. Are you the dog on the? If you didn't have the webcam after that dog comment, I might actually pause to do this right now.
Okay, moving along. Hey, at least I spelled my name correctly. Not that you guys were.
Wow.
Okay, now this is a complicated one here. So escaping literal quotes in strings. So when you define a string, you must start and end with a single or double quote. What happens when you need a literal quote, that is a double or single quote, inside your string? In JavaScript, you can escape a quote from considering as the end of a string
I didn't know this.
as an end of string quote by placing a backslash in front of the quote. So, for example, Alan said Peter is quote learning JavaScript. This signals JavaScript that the following quote is not the end of the string, but should instead appear inside the string. So we need to use backslashes to assign this. So I'm just going to cut and paste this, but in order for it to successfully compile, or not compile, but work, I need to go through and escape these strings.
This is so cool. I
So
didn't.
now, and the way that I can tell that I've got it is that you'll notice here that we've got this little error thing, and it's telling you, hey, you don't have your string closed. And that's because it thinks that my string is closed earlier and it's essentially opening up a new one. Okay, and so now if I run that, yay! And so we are explicitly checking for the backslash quotes.
So
Or,
if you go around it, and instead of using quotes to surround your string, what if you just use the little half quotes?
aha,
Would it not?
aha, you have correctly divined my next waypoint. Quoting
What?
strings with single quotes.
Like we planned it.
I know, it's crazy, right? So
John,
now we show,
on the beta site in a couple days.
yeah, I hope to have it up this afternoon with the changes that I've made, and then I'll be continuing to make corrections. And theoretically, this will be live on the 1st with the remainder of the content. I don't know if we're actually going to make that, but that's my story, and I'm
Yeah,
sticking to it.
excited.
Okay, so quoting strings with single quotes. String values may be written with single or double quotes as long as you start and end with the same type of quote. Unlike some languages, single double quotes are functionally identical in JavaScript, because in some languages like PHP, single quotes means that it doesn't interpret escape sequences inside. But anyway, in JavaScript, everything is the same. So this one, so then we have our little example, right? The value using one or the others need to escape quotes of the same type. If you have a string with multiple double quotes, this can be difficult to read and write. Instead, use single quotes. So change the provided string to double the single quotes and remove the escaping. So what we'll do is we'll change this to a single quote to start and end, and then we'll remove. Now, if I just ran that, that's actually going to be, why is it undefined?
You didn't erase the backslashes.
Yeah, but it should still display. Let me double check that. I'm wondering if I forgot to put the display stuff in the tail.
Well,
Uh,
I have to go to the bathroom.
okay, well, you have a good
Also,
time with that.
charger, so I'll be right back.
I tried to get along without you.
I'm just gonna leave that there.
Okay, quoting strings with double quotes. With single quotes. Okay. Do I have a tail? I do not have a tail. Okay, so bear with me while I go and track down. So this is why com is not done yet, is I cannot add things that don't yet exist in, like I can't add a property into my JSON that doesn't already exist. And so I have to actually manually scan through here and manually add this in. So TerraKilobyte, if you're looking for something to do with the rest of your weekend, I could really use this feature. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a tail. And what the tail is a section of JavaScript that is run immediately after the challenge seed but is not visible to the users. So I will now save that, and then I have to reload my code, and then I have to choose the same thing with single quotes. And now I have a tail section here that I can put our display code in. So this will be fun. I'm writing what is called an immediately executed, what is it called? Like immediately executed function or something like that. And the reason for doing this is that it allows us to safely display something that might generate an error. Okay, so what that should do is, okay, so save that and reload. And so now when I run this, yes. So you see, oh, that's interesting that the backslashes are not actually being displayed.
Oh,
But
that is.
so I guess that it interprets them even though they're not technically needed. Okay, but it won't pass all of the tests because we're explicitly scanning the editor input for the backslashes. So let me run that again, and it passes correctly.
Very nice.
Immediately invoked function expression. Thank you, Droop Fizzle. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Okay, escape sequences and strings. So this is more about escape sequences. So there are all these things that can or need to be escaped in a string. And what it allows you to do is to encode things that you would not normally be visible. Like there's no way to type a tab, so you can do a /t to represent the character that is tab, right? Tab is like ASCII 8 or something like that. So we're just demonstrating that. It's not super relevant here. It might be more relevant when you're doing the node side of things, but to I want to show an example of it. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to create this sequence, backslash tab tab, carriage return, new line, and assign it to my string. So that's going to be, let's see, backslash is two backslashes, and then tab is /t, and carriage return is /r, and new line is /n. These are also relevant when you're doing regular expressions. If you want to match a literal tab character, you need to use /t to represent it, or a new line, you need /n. Okay, and the tests are just, all it does is it just looks for this literal in in the output because there's pretty much no way you could cheat at it. Okay, going to the next one, concatenating strings with a plus operator. This is super helpful, and I don't know why we never did it earlier.
Yeah.
So we do concatenation, which is spelled correctly. Thank you, Abhishek. Uh, I had spelled it farcically wrong everywhere. Um, okay, so basically you can use it to join strings together. And so what we're going to do is say this is the start. My string equals this is the start plus this is the end. Just cut and paste that. Okay, and the tests are just testing that it exists, and then we also count to make sure that there are two plus operators, so you're not just writing the string out. Okay, moving along. Okay, concatenated strings with the plus equals operator. So this is the functional equivalent of plus equals in. So we're gonna say my string. Sorry, the functional equivalent of plus equals for numerics. So we'll use assignment for the first one, and then we will concatenate my str plus equals the second line. And this is really helpful, particularly in the zip lines when you're building HTML across multiple lines and you don't want to keep on going and going and going out past 80 characters or whatever. You can just break your lines and use these plus equals. I didn't think that you can join a string with a string variable with a comma, so I don't think that it can be done at all. So that's the answer is one is a concatenation operator and the other doesn't work. If you're passing things, like what you may be thinking of, if you do console log, you can pass things separated by commas, so like first and second, which can be helpful if you're actually like doing variables and stuff and you don't want to have to do concatenation. It can be a little bit cleaner to read, I think. But what is happening here is that we're actually passing multiple arguments to the log function, and it takes that. So unless your function is explicitly looking for those, it's not going to work. Okay.
Here are some questions.
Mhm.
Peace Digital, is there an update for this code mirror? This thing doesn't know what a templating string is. And
Um,
then,
so templating string is ES6, and at this time, we have deliberately omitted ES6 from the curriculum because not all modern browsers fully support ES6. And like if you're going to support anything older than a year or so, then you cannot be using templating strings and other ES6 functions. Oh, and just for the for everybody who doesn't know, ES6 is ECMAScript 6. It's basically the newest version of JavaScript, the new definition, and it has a bunch of new functions and features and stuff. The only problem with it being brand new is that it's only supported by the most recent browsers, and it's supported on server side when you're doing Node. Yeah, modern. I don't know that I can define modern, but what I can do is I can show you uh, caniuse.com. So if there is a question of can I use a particular feature like HTML templates, can I do HTML templates? Well, these are the browsers that it's supported in. Well, guess what? IE11 does not support, big surprise, does not support string templating. So you can see in the upper right corner here that that globally 70% of the browsers that are likely to come by. So this takes information from the usage of browsers throughout the entire world, and we can actually show relative usage. So the most common Chrome is 46, which is the latest version, or maybe 48 is the latest version, but most people are using 46. So you can get a feel. So, well, anybody who's using Opera Mini, which is quite popular for people who have low bandwidth connections, because it caches everything, but it can't do templating strings. And you see browser 9.9 for Android. So a lot of people are using that. Well, they can't do templating strings. So I would say anything that globally or within the US is below 90%, you absolutely should not be using it. Uh, Usually when it's that low, it means that it's like, oh, it's IE8 or below, and you can probably get away with using something like that. Okay, so that was maybe a more detailed answer, but that's caniuse.com. I use this all the time to figure out whether the thing I'm doing is too advanced for most people's browsers. And it's not just JavaScript stuff, it's also HTML5, things
I
like
feel
that.
like that website is such a hack. I mean, like I'm applying for jobs right now, and a lot of the descriptions say, cross browser compatibility, and all I have to do is just go to caniuse.com and be like, yeah, I know about cross browser compatibility. Like,
Yeah. So, okay. So we've got our concatenation here. And so we're just adding two lines together. Uh, and there we go.
bring that rain.
Rock and roll.
So just so the people watching can get a sense for these waypoints that are going to be the whole JavaScript curriculum, we've been at this for about an hour and 15 minutes. How far are we
Oh,
through the JavaScript curriculum?
yeah. Well, and so you can figure out what you can do on your birthday rather than. So we are on waypoint 28 of about 100. So I don't know that we're going to be able to finish these today. In fact, I think we'll call a hard cut off in about 45 minutes.
Okay.
So I'll tell you what. What may actually be a little bit more interesting would be to go through and look at the the mini bonfires because we talk in a little bit. So let me just kind of fast forward to those, and then we'll kind of maybe go back and because like I've been saying, we are going to put these up on the beta site hopefully today or tomorrow. And so if you're really interested, you go through. Okay, so our next, but you can go through it on the beta site, and that URL, by the way, is beta.freecodecamp.com. Putting that
Excellent.
in the chat. Okay, so my next bonfire is word blanks. So word blanks is the generic name for Mad Libs. I didn't want to call them Mad Libs because I don't want to get sued by Milton Bradley or whoever owns that. So if you are an American, you have almost certainly done Mad Libs as a kid. That's where you do nouns, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs into a pre-formatted sentence or something like that, and it makes a funny thing. So the idea here is to get people to use string concatenation uh, on result so we can build up a sentence. So all we have to do is build up a result value that has a bunch of stuff in it. So once there was a, and then we add in my noun, right? So it's whatever that was.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, we could do my adjective, my noun. So my adjective, and
And
now,
adds a space in there.
hmm?
Add
Oh,
a space.
yeah, and a plus, and then we'll need a space between them. So, so my adjective, my noun. So once there was a like a big dog or something like that, and then we'll put a period at the end there.
Once there was a big dog.
Okay. Oh well, let's see, and then we'll concatenate to here because we probably would not actually have as much space in the normal. Um, he liked to. Oh, here, let's change this to run. He
Don't
liked
you
to.
add a space at the end of the period on the first result?
Hmm?
At
Oh,
the
do.
period, yeah, space.
Oh, okay. Okay, so he liked to. My verb. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then a space, and then my adverb.
And then a period. And there needs to be a space after the word too.
Ah, yes. Pair programming right here. Okay, so the requirement that I've set is that the the sentence without the word should have at least 50 characters, and that should hope, and I hope that I've actually done that many. And apparently I didn't. So we actually call it with the plus. So um,
Period at the end of the sentence there. And then,
okay.
so how many words do you have? Or 50 characters with empty inputs?
I don't know actually. I'd have to check. It was fun, fun. I'm just gonna keep adding stuff until it passes. Maybe I should probably reduce it from 50. So let's see, what's a reasonable thing?
Aw,
This is maybe like 30 or something, 20.
I don't know. Let's try it. It depends how many that is.
Well, let's see. That's 4, 5. Um, let's see here.
Chat is getting into the operating system discussion again.
Okay,
I wish I had $1 for every time that happened, or a pancake or something good.
17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, I
Chatter,
think
spend
30. I think about 30 is probably reasonable.
Let's do 30.
Yeah, because this is just we don't. I mean, it's not a typing test, right? So let me modify that. Okay, word blanks, word blanks, word blanks.
Now, is this the kind of result that is going to be stored on people's profiles?
Yes. Well,
Okay, I feel
all
like
of
we should
them.
tell them that because I remember when I did these tests with Code Academy,
Hmm.
I would say pretty ridiculous stuff in tests like this just to entertain myself. And had I known, like, if that would be something that, for whatever reason, a lawyer could look at, I probably would not have typed the things that I typed. And I just feel like we should tell them that so that they don't get embarrassed.
Okay, I'm not sure where we would communicate that.
I don't know.
Maybe just put in parentheses. Remember that these, as
These
with
are,
all, will appear in your profile.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. I'm not gonna edit right now. Anyway, so this does pass, right? Um, so we basically test the version with blank strings, and then we verify that there's at least 30 characters, and then we run it with two different tests, and we just validate that it in fact contains all four of those words. So I've got a really hairy regular expression uh, that checks all four of them.
All of them.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to the map. and we'll go to the next one, which I believe is called Gulf Code. So this one actually takes a little bit longer to do, but we'll definitely do it. So there's a little bit. We did have some concerns here that there's a little bit of cultural knowledge that's associated with this. So I've tried to explain the game as clearly as I can. Uh,
Okay.
I'm hoping that this is comprehensible to somebody who has never seen a club or knows what this work, how the game works. So in the game of golf, each hole has a par for the average number of strokes needed to sink the ball. Yeah, I don't know that like if you didn't know what a hole was and you don't know what strokes are, it may not be. So I may need to go in and add a little bit more of an explanation here.
Or you could
Or
also do the thing where you add a link. Like if you are not familiar with the game of golf, like read a more in-depth.
yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna wiki it. I'm just gonna
Golf.
add the. I'm just gonna add a link to it. Yeah,
Because I mean, the people you'll either know what that is or you will have no idea, probably.
yeah. And I don't even know that. Yeah.
Know what golf is, then here you go.
Okay. So golf code. Oh man, I can never find them in here. It drives me
Yeah,
crazy.
like a stroke is each time you hit the ball, it's a stroke. I was on the varsity golf team in high school.
Okay, so we will turn the word golf into anchor link.
Where did they come up with the name Anchor?
Because I don't know actually.
It just seems
Because
so.
you can use them as internal links. Like you can like if you do an A tag and give it a name, you can then link to it internally.
Yeah, but how does it? What does it have to do with anchors?
Was an anchor in the sense that it is a portion of the page that you can link to? No, I don't know. It's I guess we can ask Tim Berners-Lee. And,
I'm gonna tweet at him later.
yeah. Okay, so that's
Let's
saved.
see, what are you guys streaming? Oh, hey, it's Ben. We should call him.
Hey, I don't know. Do you have his Gmail?
Ben, what's your Gmail account?
Oh, well, don't broadcast
Say
it
on
live.
Twitter. If you send it to me and Gitter, then I don't know how I'll get it to Rex. Just send it to Rex
Well, the
on
only
Gitter.
I don't know that I'm going to be able to reformat the video or anything. Well, but he doesn't
Oh,
show up.
gotcha.
I don't. It might cause more problems than it solves.
You're not worth it then.
Yeah,
Just
sorry, Ben. I just
saying.
not in the middle of. Okay, so the idea here is that depending upon how far above or below par your strokes are, there's a different nickname for that score, and so they're going to be past the par for the hole and the strokes. Okay, Ben, I'm sorry, but you that just got broadcast to like everybody. So, well, you know what? I'll give it a shot. Because I'm
Your first
crazy.
will be past a par and strokes, but after it says strokes, is it strokes or stokes? Oh, I think you spelled it wrong
Oh, did
somewhere.
I? I did. Oh man. So give
Carol
that.
Ann Hannon for the win. Everybody send to the brownies. She
Send the
always
brownies.
knows everything.
God, we got to get her working for us. Seriously?
Like, how is she so detail oriented? Carol Ann, what is your secret? Oh, I just said thank instead of thanks, and it worked. So,
You can do like TX and it works.
but
Okay, so Ben, uh, I just sent him the invite, so we'll see whether he gets that or not.
fantastic.
If everything goes pear-shaped, it's all Ben's
We don't
fault.
have a webcam anyway, so we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I just don't know if your video is still gonna. Oh, I think I can. Can I lock yours in? Oh, oh, what I do?
But drop it. She's a math and computer science major. Well, they could be majors and also not be detail oriented. It just is.
Okay, where are we? Okay, so let's fix it to strokes.
Hello?
Hey, it's
Hi.
Ben.
Hooray, it's me.
So Ben, we are exposing all of the flaws in COM 1000.
Great, I love it.
I'm hoping you actually have some time between now and the end of the year that we can improve the UI on this. Okay,
You know,
where?
it's funny you mentioned that. I'm literally off to the 7th of January, so actually, of all times, I am around to fix and break things.
Awesome. Well, I'm hoping that between you and Nathan that we're good to go. Okay, so we are no longer having a stoke, we are having a stroke.
Well, that's not great either.
Okay, so the idea here is that we want to do a chained if-else in order to solve this.
Oh.
And so there's a whole waypoint that talks about how you chain those together. And it's something that I think people end up learning, but we explicitly go into it here. So I am just going to solve this one live. So if, I think how I solved it in the past was I say delta is equal to par. No, I think that ends up making it more confusing. I'll just write these out. So if strokes is equal to 1. And we do go into all of the comparison operators. So we have the triple equals and the double equals and that. So that we've skipped over all of that. But we make differentiations between them and we talk about all of those.
The stuff.
Yeah.
Am I muted? I can't tell what I'm doing.
Okay. No, I can hear you. And
And
hopefully
now I am
everybody else.
muted.
Whoa.
Oh.
Am I muted?
No.
What?
Now you're muted.
Now
Okay.
I can't see Rex's screen. Let me try this. Well, never mind. It's fine.
Oh, I need to. Can you see it now?
Can you hear me now?
Everything's working for me.
Okay, I have no idea if anything's working.
All right. Can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
And this, good question. He says,
I
are you
probably
going to
muted myself.
stack? Which, yes, he is, because it seems like the perfect fit for Switch.
Well, so the reason that you would not necessarily do switch is because these are variable values, and I don't know that you can actually do them as a switch. I mean, it may technically be possible. You might be able to do case par minus 1, but and you're certainly welcome to try it, but my intended solution for this was an if-else chain. Because there are some things, I don't know, like technically the default would be the par greater than equals par plus 3. But for the moment, I'm going to solve it as an if-else chain.
Am I muted? I have no idea.
You are not now.
Okay, I've been pressing the mute button for the past 10 minutes. It's going on, off, on, off, on, off. I wonder what's going on. That makes sense. Okay, we're good. I was just saying, if you want to do a switch, you probably better off doing a more vague, if less than 0, and then default or something, as opposed to doing something like a case for each integer, because that might get a bit crazy.
Well, I'm not. I mean, I'm just going to do the itself chain. Let's see. So if strokes is equal to par minus 1. So yeah, this has got to be this is real Twitch streaming right here, man. As I try and
BZI brings up a good point where you can't have a case for less than -2, so you could use default, but then you can't have less than or equal to -2, so you'd have to have an if anyway.
exactly.
You just big old truth bomb on the case.
Yeah. Perfect.
I think you can have a case